was IFR at 8,000, had a hydraulic failure. We declare an emergency. We start an emergency descent in a Chinook. This is 6,000 feet a minute. And we're talking to the center. The last thing I said before we lost comms and radar was, I don't think we're going to make it.
Ready. Welcome to Opposing Bases Air Traffic Talk, an aviation podcast by two air traffic controllers and rated pilots who love to talk about flying, controlling, and everything in between. The show is for entertainment purposes only and should not be used as a substitute for your instructor, your supervisor, the FAA, the NTSB, or your CAT. The show will give you a better understanding of how things work in the National Airspace System and maybe even make you laugh along the way. Please welcome retired Army pilot Alpha Golf and first officer at Penguin Airlines, Romeo Hotel.
It's Tuesday, December 16th, 2025, episode 416. On today's show, we'll share a listener's real-life emergency, reminisce about scenic Atlantic crossings, and share more of your great feedback. What's up, AJ?
Hello, everyone.
Happy Tuesday. This episode will be, I think, the last one in 2025 for the public feed. This will come out on the last Tuesday of the month of December. Completing our 8th year of podcasting.
Wow.
8 years, everybody. Congrats to you and me.
Yay, we did it.
We did it. Which means we have our second annual OB Awards coming up. We have to figure that out.
Oh, yeah.
We are still accepting nominations. Feedback at opposingbases.com. We have a folder that we kept in the archived email. And we got a couple of recent ones in there. So if you
I'm
want
not shaving for that.
Okay.
I'm not. I know that's the expectation. We wore suits and ties. I can't. I'm not doing it.
You don't fit your suit anymore?
No, I'm not shaving my beard.
Oh. But you're wearing a suit.
If I have to. Yeah.
Nobody tells AG what to do. How's your week been? You said 2 of 5. Explain to everybody what that is.
2 mids of 5 mids.
On the mood spectrum, where are you?
I'd say lower, but I'm still good. On the scale, I'm on the lower end, but I'm okay. I'm good. I'm just tired.
Okay. And you got adequate nap today when you got back? Drive home was not hazardous?
Well, as safe as it can be in an 85 4Runner.
With a roll bar. Duh.
Yeah, true. Yeah, with a roll bar. And the really awesome precision steering. Yeah.
It's a no power steering, right?
Oh, no, it has power steering.
Okay. But
It's
the wheels, the tires.
Have you ever
huge.
driven a vehicle with a solid front axle, not independent front suspension?
Possibly, but I wasn't aware of it at the time.
Yeah. It isn't like a normal experience where you turn the wheel and then the car turns in that direction in sort of a responsive kind of way. Yeah, there's just a lot of, it sort of wanders around. And this, if you're going on a straight road in a normal car, you can sort of, I'm not going to say let go or disengage from the steering wheel, but it doesn't really require a lot of conscious effort. This does. If you stop driving the car, it will go off the road.
Well, that will keep you awake then. You have to put effort into it and concentration.
Yes, it does. It's like a workout program. It's constant action, movement, calorie burning. Yeah.
We high-fived in the parking lot last night when I was getting my car after a very low-drama commute home.
Good.
As you were coming to work, I was going home. Really nothing remarkable about this trip. Another Perfect setting for a long sunset, which we witnessed last night. Sun was in the same spot, just below the horizon for at least 4 hours.
Wow.
As we raced towards it at almost the same speed.
Wow.
Yeah. The picture behind me is from our rest seat in 1A. You can see the wing and the engine.
Cool.
It's a little bit blurry. It's hard to take a picture with the window there, the glass. But
yeah, it wants to focus.
it does.
Crazy.
It tries. But anyway, I'm back. I'll be home this week and probably back to London again on Friday night.
Okay.
We'll see.
Yeah, it's very cold right now.
It is cold.
Well, not right now, maybe, but yesterday morning when I left work, it was 14, which isn't normal for here.
No,
I mean, we get
normal.
that. We get like a spell like this once a year, maybe.
14th cold.
It's cold.
It makes you want to go right back inside where you came from.
Yes.
As worse than that is 14 with just the smallest of breezes.
The wind was blowing hard when I left, and it was like single digit wind chills.
Stay
1 or
inside.
2. Yeah.
Stay inside. Anyway, low drama weeks. Okay, shall we begin?
All right.
All right. Since OB416, we have a few new supporters on the iceberg in the Supercast Penguin Club, as we call it. Charlie Whiskey, Charlie Kilo, Charlie Golf, Tango Charlie, Juliet Victor, Mike Bravo, Juliet Lima, Mike Tango, and Delta Sierra. Welcome. If you've been enjoying the show and you want to take it to the next level, you can join our premium feed on Supercast. Supporters get every episode on time with no delays. Our entire back catalog, access to our live stream every week, bonus audio, and a direct line to us through our supporter-only email. You'll keep this show proudly ad-free and 100% community supported. You can learn more and sign up at opposingbases.supercast.com. Thank you, everybody.
Yes, thank you.
Review and announcements.
Review and announcement.
The emails started coming again. I don't know.
Emails.
They heard us. They heard the call. Remember, I said we're not getting that email anymore because I did not get the email for the previous 2 reviews. I had to go find them.
Huh.
I got them again. So here we are in the format that we're used to and the way we can read them.
Yeah, I like this.
It's better. It's
This
so much-
is the standard.
Okay, I'll do my best. The other way was dreary and gray and just, they were very small letters.
Yeah.
This is better.
Yeah.
Do you want to read it?
I'll read it. It's titled Great Show. It's 5 stars. That's the only way we're reading it. If you want your review read on the show, it has to be 5 stars. And we have seen it. I hate to mention this, but we have seen where a listener sort of sneaks in a feedback through a 5-star review. I'm not endorsing this, but I'm just telling you it has happened.
This is a great size review. Almost perfect size review.
This is a lovely, yes, it's very good. Yes. I haven't read it yet, but just the way it looks is nice. 5 stars. I decided to switch careers midlife this April and start taking lessons toward my private pilot. I earned my private license July 21st and have my instrument check ride scheduled for December 17th. Cool. Congrats. On your private. This podcast has helped immensely in my understanding of the NAS as I work towards earning my instrument license. Thank you for all the work you all put into this great show, New Penguin Explorer Charlie Hotel. Cool. You're welcome. Thanks for sending the review.
Yeah, thanks for taking the time to do it. Some announcements from Supercaster Delta Romeo Foxtrot. Sent a note. I was in the chat room for the live broadcast of episode 397. Just listen to that line. Episode 300.
Yeah, hey, I meant to say the back catalog. You have access to the back catalog. This is hundreds of episodes.
Why are they not there for everybody now? We want to review that real quick?
We could review that. This show is ad-free. It has been ad-free for 8 years. It has always been listener-supported, and part of archiving the back catalog is protecting the investment of the people that have supported us for a long time. It is adding value to their contribution, to their support of the show. So that's part of it. Probably the biggest part, really. Mm-hmm. Is there anything you want to add?
Just the mechanics behind that. About a year of episodes are out in the public sphere. Beyond that, it's behind the supporter paywall. And if you're interested in that, which many of you are, you can find those older episodes at Supercast.
Right. So if a year is like 50 episodes. So we're talking 300 and...
I think we're at 362 or 363 and back is archived right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of content in there.
Tons. And lots of bonus audio.
Oh.
That was a plug for that too. Sorry, okay. I interrupted you. Continue.
I don't know where I was.
The first line of the feedback.
You were actually reading
that. I was. My bad.
Okay.
It's going to be a rough show. I was in the live chat for 397 when you played my audio feedback, so I saw the look of puzzlement and skepticism of RH's face when I mentioned that I soon hope to get my instrument rating at age 70. Despite that seeming vote of no confidence, I powered on, and I'm pleased to say that I passed the check ride yesterday. Congrats.
Nice. Congrats.
Take that, RH. I don't remember being skeptical of this. This is the way I look. Sometimes it might look skeptical, and I knew you could do it. I'm sorry if it looked that way or it sounded differently when I said it. But it's great. It's awesome. It's now, you may feel like you're taking on that challenge later in life, but 70 is the new 46.
Oh.
Go for it.
I'm almost there.
Yesterday was sub-freezing in Wendy's, so no one saw the OB t-shirt I was wearing under all of the layers. It felt like cheating to be secretly wearing the proven cloak of invincibility.
It is that. It is. Your results may vary, and we don't guarantee it in any way, shape, or form, but it really is.
My first instrument instructor, Tango Golf, introduced me to opposing basses, and I finished the back catalog recently. Your voices and those of your amazing feedback community have been the inspiring background music to my work toward the instrument rating. I am deeply grateful to all of you. Once an SCAC, always an SCAC. Delta Romeo Foxtrot. All right, we won't make up any new fancy code names for the supporters. Thank you, and thank you for your support of the show. Congratulations, and that's great. That's again, if I looked skeptical, I apologize.
For those of you that don't know, SCAC is Supreme Galactic Aviation Commander.
Mm-hmm.
It was the highest tier of when we had only Patreon. It was the highest patron level you could be. So
we're still experimenting with names. In this show, I think I called everybody the same, Supercaster. So
yeah, okay.
I'm exhausted. Let's do every other one of these. You can get number 2.
Yeah, you're very tired. Number 2.
Oh wait, I have to do this one. I'm sorry.
Oh.
Remember last week when you won't understand this right away without some context. When we got done playing audio from Charlie Papa, I said, I don't think we heard the same thing just now.
Oh, right.
That was my fault. I put in the wrong audio. There had been 2 announcements. We're going to hear the correct one. I went back and re-edited the audio version of OB416 and put the one that the live chat heard, the one that you heard. That is what went out into the world. That only tripled my work, but it was my mistake. I have no one to blame but myself.
Huh. All right.
Here we are. New one. Ready to hit play when you are on the next announcement for Charlie Papa.
I'm ready.
1, 2, 3.
Hey, RH and AG, Charlie Papa from the Soprano Delta under the Penguin Bravo. Regret to inform you I am 0 for 2 on DPs recognizing my OB water bottle during check rides or being familiar with the show, but happy to say I've just passed my instrument rating 6 weeks after my private pilot. Like for that, I've merged my announcement into the feedback, so I'm not sure that one's made it out yet. But the best part of instrument training was flying down from the Penguin Bravo to the Mythical Triad, shoot a couple practice approaches and grab some barbecue. Highly recommended for any pilots in the Northeast that need to build time to those 40 hours of simulated or actual. Huge shout out to my CFI, November Kilo, and huge shout out to you guys for all of the episodes. I'm back to episode 100 today, and yeah, thanks for everything.
Excellent.
Cool.
All right. I'm glad we got that sorted out, and I'm not crazy. I don't know how I did that, but rock on. All right. I get number 3 then.
Okay.
And you will have done none, except you're going to do number 4. You have to do number 4. That's what I'm building up to here.
I see that.
All right. From Supercaster Whiskey Mike. Morning, guys. Whiskey Mike from the presidential non-tower to the west of Metroplex. Not as cool as a check ride pass. Working on that hopefully by the new year. But I managed to get my advanced ground instructor and instrument ground instructor ratings issued by the fine folks at the Charlotte FSDO earlier this week. Congrats.
Cool.
Those writtens are no joke. Undoubtedly, you've been doing a lot of studying, so congratulations.
Yes, very good.
Go forth and prosper and share your knowledge with the world.
Indeed.
All right, you got to sound, this is you. This has to be you. Number 4.
Number 4 must be read by AG and in an Army official ceremonial way. Wow. Attention to orders. After a distinguished 4-year command of the county containing the executive airport under the Metroplex Bravo Composite Squadron, during which the unit's cadet and adult corps grew, each by 62% in spite of COVID, search teams grew from 2 to 20 personnel and participated in 3 real-world searches, resulting in 2 finds. First 3 pilots were qualified, first airplane was assigned, and no less than 150 young cadets' lives impacted and leadership grown. In accordance with Civil Air Patrol Regulation 35-1, effective 20 November 2025, Lieutenant Colonel Mike Kilo Kilo relinquishes command, and First Lieutenant Julia Tango assumes command of the squadron by order of Major Bravo, Bravo Commander Group 6, North Carolina Wing. The adults and cadets of the squadron and the Civil Air Patrol thank Lieutenant Colonel Mike Kilo Kilo for his leadership, dedication, and deep commitment to his community and the growth of its youth, and wish him blue skies and tailwinds as he moves on to future endeavors.
That sounded so official and amazing. You crushed that.
Thank you. I
Even
felt
though
official. It felt really good.
Congratulations, Mike Kilo Kilo.
Yeah.
Very cool announcement, and thank you for putting this together like this.
Yeah. We've mentioned Civil Air Patrol numerous times on the show. Mm-hmm. But I don't think we've ever really dedicated time to...
We should do that.
To going through that.
Yeah, structure, path, how young cadets get involved and what their function is in the aviation bigger picture. That would be a good show. That'd be fun.
Yeah. So you guys out there that are in that, I guess you could start sending us feedback that we could have in a show topic.
Yeah, excellent.
Okay.
All right, moving on. Timely feedback. All right, I'll get number 1 from Supercaster Delta Foxtrot. Among the highlights of the recent AOPA magazine, they sent a few highlights from the magazine. I'm going to cover one of them, the Never Again story, which is a constant article in that magazine. Story concerned a newly minted instrument pilot who flew towards a squall line in late November many years ago. Though the decision-making seemed prudent and conservative, he misinterpreted the stronger than forecast headwinds. What he did was recompute his fuel reserve. What he should have also done was realize that the heavy snow was rushing towards him faster than expected. Both his original and his brake glass diversion options closed before he got there. Flight ended safely, but then a week later, an FAA rep at the FSDO called and said, "You could have shot the approach at either airport no matter what they told you." I'm just reading what they said. Officially closing the airport was just for insurance purposes. If you choose to land, as was your right, and crashed, the airport wouldn't have been liable. End quote.
I have no idea what the legal precedent of that statement is, but it sounds like it's coming from
the FSDO.
The FSDO. Yeah.
Allow me to paraphrase based on what I gathered from this. In an emergency, provided the airport wasn't closed because there was no runway available, i.e. trucks and construction, or it was dug up.
Yeah, a giant hole in the middle of it. Right.
Then yeah, go for it. Put the airplane down. It's an emergency. If there was an emergency that constituted landing at the first place on Earth that you could put this plane down. As far as liability and insurance, I'm not sure I am qualified to agree or disagree with that. An attorney might argue with the FSDO on that one. And in a controlling point of view, if an airport were closed and I were the controller, I would probably throw out a bunch of made up on the spot, hey, the airport is closed, use caution, we have no idea what's on the runway, and we'll clear it for the approach, but we are in no way, shape, or form endorsing you putting it down on this runway outside of the fact that you have an emergency. We don't know what's there. We could try to find out, why is the airport closed? Is there something on, we could try to get a hold of in the background. But if time were of the essence, that might not be possible. Would you feel warm and fuzzy about clearing somebody for an approach into a non-towered, closed airport?
I guess if they had declared an emergency.
Fair.
But at the same time, unless you're low on fuel, like what is the circumstance of this?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I mean, weather, rapidly changing weather, and now your diverts are closed off. I mean, it says it ended well. It was safe. So they got somewhere that wasn't closed. Maybe they were close on fuel though. Maybe it could have been a little more more of a buffer.
True.
I don't know. But it would certainly depend on the circumstances of this emergency.
Agreed. And maybe a good takeaway for the pilots listening, if you're doing planning and we talked about packing your electronic flight bag, the NOTAMs for airports along your flight path could, be the make or break on a decision that you have to make mid-route. I definitely can't go there. It's closed. And I don't even want to touch that with a 10-foot pole. Here are my other options, that type of thing.
Yeah. Huh.
You want number 2?
Number 2. From Supercaster Charlie Hotel, had the pleasure of participating in a drop-off of lunch and some grocery store gift cards to A90. The gratitude was a little overwhelming, but I think the idea that we were just a group of GA pilots who wanted to say thanks hit everyone by surprise. We even fielded questions from the controllers, as they don't often see GA pilots there. Weird experience to see the sky gods, and they want to know what you think, right? Every time we hear a story like this of pilots talking to controllers, I feel like we're validated.
Amen.
In this stuff that we're saying.
Mm-hmm.
Because it's always like this. The controllers want to know, they want to understand, they want to talk to you. That's the one that always comes up. We'd much rather be talking to you than not talking to you. And it's just good to hear that that's pretty, it feels pretty universal across the NAS.
Mm-hmm.
Got to plug in on the sector that works our airport as well as watching the finals controller play 3D chess. Watching a professional at work is really something to behold. I asked some questions about LOAs, point outs, APREX, while watching the scopes, and 2 different controllers asked me, "You sure you haven't worked for the agency before?" Thanks to OB for the penguins. Yeah, good. I like that. You could talk the lingo. You kind of know what's going on. You understand.
Yeah, LOAs and point outs, not so much, but APREX, if you said it just like that,
yeah,
they'd be like, "Why is he saying he's using our secret language?"
Yeah. So the spelling for that, I guess, would be APREQ.
Sure.
It's approval request.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, request for approval. Somehow it got into, I don't know. You know how aviation is.
When you go to work tonight, the first approval request that you want from center, key up and say, Center Triad approval request. And try to do it with a straight face.
Okay. I'll do it.
Thank you.
Speaking of, no, I'll skip that. Watching each handoff in with the new controller touching every knob and button to get the scope reset was a hoot. I asked if anyone had atrocious settings there, and everyone immediately pointed at one controller across the room. I love it. I think lunch helped get us in the door, but everyone was welcoming throughout and really appreciated our questions. Both of us fly the same aircraft, so we get promises of direct destination and cleared through the Bravo every time. Overall, I had high hopes for what I might learn, and they exceeded my expectations. Thanks to everyone at A90 and Happy. We got to peer into the dark room on the other side of the mic. Cool. Good story.
Excellent. Food helps. Reach out. Ask somebody if there's time and an appropriate time of the week that will work for try to take somebody else, another pilot from your flying club or someone else that is interested in aviation. The more the merrier. Bring them along and try to schedule one. They're eye-opening experiences.
Yeah.
Yep. And yes, controllers are humans. They're normal people.
They eat food. Mm-hmm. They have bills. Yep.
Yep. Thank you for the feedback. Number 3 from Supercaster Charlie Bravo, reference Juliet. I cannot wait to see your reaction. This is a live reaction. I get to watch this. For AG, referencing Juliet Delta's routing down the East Coast, AG questioned why a controller several states away was issuing routing so far beyond their airspace. I am a controller at the nation's TRACON. They like calling themselves that.
They do like it. Yeah.
And we deal with this all the time in my area, so I thought I could share some insight. In our IDS, that's Information Display System. It's like a DOS program that shows all the things. And it's got these buttons to push. They're really old. They take forever to update. Ask KTU.
Theirs probably isn't.
No, they probably
theirs is probably state of the art.
Right. They just think it and it comes up on the screen.
Yeah. They plug in the thing in the back of their head, the little.
In our IDS, we have a list of virtually every airport in the Northeast with acceptable routings that we are required to issue. This is in addition to complying with SOPs, LOAs, and preferential routing.
Okay, hold on. So how do you know?
Great question. Which ones qualify for the must issue?
Yeah, so then you have to look up if a plane is going northeast bound, I guess most of the major ones that you're going to deal with all the time, you're going to eventually figure those out. Oh, that's one of those airports. But I got to believe there's so many others that you couldn't possibly memorize the list.
I guess you have to have a feel for it, at least know where to look in alphabetical order. Like, hey, I've never seen this one, but I feel like since you're headed that direction, it's one I should know. And they press the button on the page and voila, here it is.
Yeah.
They continue. The goal, I think, is to have an aircraft on routing that avoids potential airspace conflicts as soon as possible, since there is little margin for error. For example, if you look at just the portion of Juliet Delta's route between Garrett and Collin, you have the CIFRA and DC Bravo on one side and the Patuxent Restricted Area Complex on the other side. So there is a corridor that is about 15 miles wide that everyone gets funneled through. Mm. On top of that, there are DC Metro departures climbing through that area with stars into the Philly and New York areas directly above. So the route may change down the road, but you'll be on something that misses everything along the way to the greatest extent possible. As soon as we get a strip from an aircraft heading to the Northeast, we are checking the route. We hate issuing the long reroutes just as much as the pilots hate receiving them, especially since we are routinely working multiple frequencies over about a 200-mile wide airspace, and that long readback just sounds like a nice, long, opportune pause to an aircraft on a different frequency. Charlie Bravo. How do you not come home and become a violent indivial after a day of this?
Yeah, I know.
This is terrible.
They need this system that we're getting coming up here soon. Within a year, they're changing our the voice switch.
Okay. Oh, right. Yeah, you told me about this.
To have rebroadcast capabilities.
That is amazing.
when you're working multiple frequencies, a pilot, let's say for us, calling on 26.6 is instantly rebroadcast on the other frequencies so that everybody can hear them. And it sounds to the pilots like everyone is on the same frequency. That will be amazing.
So if I were new to this whole air traffic thing and then learned a little bit about pref routing, which we've talked about a few times on the show, the plus routing that we must read, if the controller at the Nation's TRACON, it's a great name, by the way. I made fun of it a minute ago, but it is a great name. You've claimed it as your own, and we approve. Why aren't they putting those routings that are internal, the ones you have to read, inside the preferential routing system? In other words, why is the controller doing the route and forced to read this long thing when it could just come out on plus routing, which maybe someone pre-Nation's TRACON or post gets the rest of it?
Sure. Well, in our example, I believe that the Las Vegas of the East Coast.
They did. You're right. They are the ones that read it. Okay.
Yeah. So I wonder if it's universal and just, hey, these... But that wouldn't make sense because the routing from that approach control can't be the same. It could be the same at some point where those two routes can meet back up, but
someone in Flight Data World who is aware of the systems required to get those into pref routings could probably make your lives a little bit easier, but I sympathize. This would be terrible. You're reading like 15 fixes and 12 other pilots check in because they don't get it. The other person's reading it back. Yeah, they hear you talking, but they don't hear the read back. Oh, look, a long pause. Let's talk.
What an opportune moment.
You described it perfectly. It is an opportune pause to check in, which we endorse on the show, but they don't know that you're trying to listen to this really complex readback. So,
see, that just goes back to you need to check in and listen for a little bit because if you waited, what could be the rule? Remember, we tried to come up with a rule.
If you're just en route and you're not landing, 10 to 30 seconds. I don't think it's crazy.
Something long enough for somebody, if you just, right when you hit the switch, the controller finished issuing this route, and it takes that long for a readback. Think of it like that. All right, so that's like the worst case scenario. The pilot is reading back this super long route on another frequency. You don't know, you don't hear them. And you are waiting, you're sitting there waiting for a controller to say, read back correct. Right. So I don't know, 20 seconds?
But that seems like an eternity. So what's going to happen? The controller that's waiting and listening to that read back, they're just basically going to ignore that check-in. They might push the strip to the side like, I have to go back to this. But guy, you're tuning all that out. And you're honed in on that one voice. I want to hear this person read back this thing. That's all I care about right now. Unless someone says Mayday at the beginning of the next transmission.
Yeah, right.
I don't care what's happening. This is what I want to hear. Right. And at that time, they've reserved that space in their sequence of all the things they have to do to listen to that. That is now their priority.
Right.
So that's a good awareness piece for the pilots in this area. Checking in. Use patience. Please don't be mean to them. And keep pressing the button. Hey, we're here. We're checking in. And then I dent. All right, we got to move on.
Okay.
Thank you, Charlie Bravo. Fancy jet music.
Jet music.
All right, this week's show topic, a real emergency from Supercaster. Excuse me. Supercaster Golf Juliet. I don't know what happened there.
Okay.
My mouth got in the way of speaking.
You're still breathing.
Yeah, we're going to read this feedback, and then we're going to go through some bullet points, things that I don't want to forget at the bottom.
Oh, my word.
I know. We're going to split this. I'll do the first half, and you just tap in when you're ready. Okay. Hi, AGNRH. Today I experienced a real-world emergency. In the 40 years of flying, this is the first time I've had to declare an emergency, and the advice you have given over the years was invaluable to me today. For starters, I didn't hesitate to declare an emergency. It was the first thing I did when the prop started acting up. Excellent.
Good.
I was at 8,000 feet, and I had just been handed off to a new sector with Bradley approach, and the controller was awesome. I think he had to have been a pilot too, because he knew exactly what I needed and when. The cognitive overload, we call it a helmet fire, that occurs when your propulsion system starts to do very weird things is hard to describe. I've read about it from other people's stories, but it was a very different to experience firsthand just how mentally saturated you become trying to understand what the heck is going on. In my case, right after being handed off, the prop started surging up and down by 400 RPMs. That's significant. You would notice that. Mm-hmm. If that doesn't get your attention, I don't know what will. It returned to normal for a few seconds, and for a brief second, I thought about continuing on. Then it surged again, dropped to 1,800 RPMs, and sort of stayed there. My entire iceberg and almost every available penguin was consumed by what the expletive is happening. This is scary stuff. Thankfully, there was one lone penguin, the one in charge of comms, prodding me to keep up and let ATC know that I had a problem.
Key up.
Key up. I'm sorry. What did I say?
Keep up.
Oh, key up.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Right.
The controller was on it. Within seconds of me declaring an emergency, he had identified the closest airport and had given me a heading to it. That solved one big thing I didn't need to worry about. No hitting NRST, which is a button on EFBs have it. A lot of GPSs have it. It tells you immediately with one push a list of airports that are nearest to you. NRST is for nearest. From there, he pulled up the airport info and told me the runways, then checked the winds and told me that they favored runway 2. From there, he told me that it had 3,500 feet of runway to work with and gave me the local common traffic advisory frequency, all things that would have been very difficult to pull up on his own. He gave me all of the information needed to be able to plan a landing. He was so on it that I'm thinking he was probably also a pilot. Any thoughts so far?
Yeah, there's a chance that he was, but there's a chance that he wasn't. Just as much, I think, because controllers are trained to go through these steps. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, they continue. While under normal circumstances with an iPad and a Garmin Navigator, you are a few taps away from all of that information. I can't stress just how valuable that information was to me at the moment. If I had to distract myself from flying the plane and listening to what was happening to it to get that information, it would have been a huge extra burden. My entire clutch of penguins were trying to determine if I was hearing or feeling anything that was indicating that the situation was getting worse. Those penguins were trying to think ahead about how to set up for a landing with partial power, which in many respects is harder to handle than if the engine had just quit. What you're doing is breaking down our brain's somewhat ability, maybe half the ability that we wish it had in taking care of all these things while something unusual is happening. It's very easy to get distracted. A helmet fire, we've talked about it. That happens a lot in training when your instructor gets all fancy and starts failing things, and it is cognitive overload and task saturation, and in a time where you're actually having an emergency and something's wrong with the airplane, it could be the difference of having a safe outcome or not, or one that was maybe a little bit different. So, all right. I ran through the engine failure items, switched fuel tanks, fuel pumps on, etc. When I set the mixture to rich, the engine quit. Thankfully, when I pulled the mixture back out, the engine came back to life, and I tried to find a mixture setting that gave me the most amount of power. That is behavior that I wouldn't have expected.
Right.
You pushed a bunch of gas into it, and it said, "No, I'm quitting."
Yeah, too much gas.
It can happen for scenarios, but good for you for reversing that. That's the part I want to make sure I don't forget to talk about it, because I don't think it's in my notes. When you change a setting in an airplane in an emergency and it makes it worse or causes an undesirable outcome, it's okay to reverse that in some cases. This seems to be a good example of one. Like, that didn't work. That was bad. Let's go back to what that was on before.
Right.
And it seemed to have worked in this case. After giving me the download on the airport, the controller then cleared me to descend to 3,000 feet at pilot's discretion. This was another area where knowledge from your show came into play. You did a great job of helping us all realize that a controller instruction or suggestion is not some kind of word on high to be blindly followed. It's another human working a problem. I told the controller I was going to stay at 8,000 feet for as long as I could. We're going to talk about that in the notes.
Okay.
I love this. I just want to say that. I love this part. Do you want to help me out and finish this?
No, you said I could jump in when I wanted. I don't want to.
When I was younger and less experienced, pre-OB, I think I might have started descending because I would have felt the controller was telling me I really started down, even with the pilot's discretion. Today, my penguins knew that the energy management was key, and altitude is energy. I also knew the controller was trying to be helpful and wouldn't have a problem if I wanted to stay high.
Good. Perfect. That's exactly right.
And now are you ready to help me?
Yeah, sure. Fine. What? Once I was over the field, I circled down. I made a few calls on CTAF while still having approach up, just so everyone was aware of what was happening. I learned later that ATC had called the airport manager and had them on alert. There wasn't any ARF, as this was a small and controlled field. As I was circling down, the controller cleared me for the visual approach, which struck me as a little humorous under the circumstances, but I suppose the procedures are drilled into controllers, so he felt compelled to give me a clearance. Yeah, I get it. Because if the thing was reviewed and he didn't, somebody would say, you didn't give him, how did they get in there? You didn't give him a visual approach.
How did they legally keep descending? What authorization did they have?
Yeah. Yeah. Go back to your desk, you.
Thanks for your input. It's been noted.
Yeah. For those of you that can't see, that was the sound of RH wadding up some piece of paper, throwing it in the trash. All right. They continue. Figuring out the plan for the actual approach was challenging. I had power, but I might not at any second, so I needed to plan as if the engine were going to die at any moment, which kept me high and fast. But the runway wasn't that long either. I only had 3,500 feet to play with. I came in high and fast, dropped the flaps, and cut the power when landing was assured. I used all of that 3,500 feet, but I figured I had ways to lose energy, but didn't have ways to get it back. Exactly.
This is a master's class on an emergency and handling energy.
Once it's gone, it's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Unless you're making full power and you're super confident that that's going to continue to happen, which this is not that case.
I think I've told this story, but I'll tell it real quick again. I had a student on a check ride, private pilot check ride. They had to do a divert after they do their cross country. We try to get him lost. This kid was impossible to get him lost. All right, where are we diverting to? We're going over here. This is how much fuel it's going to take. It's going to take me 9 minutes. I'm going to burn like half an ounce of gas because it was 152. Mm-hmm. And that's where I'm. This is the heading I'm taking. And we're super high. I said, what's your descent plan? He said, I'm confident that if I don't make it in the exact second I told you I would, that my engine will fail. I said, you're right. Boop. And I failed his engine. I knew he could do it. I said, I'll handle all the radio calls. He stayed as high. Now he has no engine, but that paid off because we were only a couple miles from the airport and he had options. Instead of arriving on this natural descent path or being low already, now he had time to make a decision and figure out how he was going to put it down. That is very tricky. We don't practice that in training. For you to be able to do that in real life with an emergency happening speaks volumes about your ability as a pilot. So good for you.
Yeah. Let's see, where was I? While I was circling, the controller at Bradley gave me a number to call when we were safely on the ground. He got off position as soon as he switched me to CTAF, and he answered the phone when I called in. That's, I feel like that's not normal.
Mm-mm.
But that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
I could feel the relief in his voice when I told him we were all good. It gave me an appreciation for the stress that this kind of thing puts on the controller, too. It does. It does. Mm-hmm. We don't want to be a part of something bad happening. We don't want that. Mm-hmm. So it is a relief, and we do want to know what happened. As another wrinkle to this story that you'll appreciate, I had a passenger with me, a coworker. Her husband is a controller with Boston Approach. He was at work on position training someone when this went down. Oh, my gosh.
Mm.
And so he knows.
Keep reading.
Okay, he had zoomed out to be able to casually check on our progress, more for curiosity than anything else. Can you imagine what would go through your head if you saw a single engine plane with your spouse in it start squawking 7,700? He was on the phone with Bradley in a matter of seconds, and he white-knuckled the whole thing with us from an entirely different perspective. Wow. Oh, my gosh.
They will tell that story. Remember that time I was working and you were about to crash?
Oh, my gosh.
Wasn't that fun? Wow. We can only laugh about this because it's had a happy ending.
Right. He wound up flying down to pick us up and get us back home after he got off work. Wow. This is quite a story. When he walked in to meet us at the terminal building in 3 Bravo 0.
That's the airport they landed at.
Yeah, right. He handed me the strip for my flight plan as a souvenir, which was very cool. That is cool. This is just like, I don't know. I feel like this story is like the embodiment of this.
Yes.
Of this whole show. As icing on the cake, Delta Papa, the genius behind Live ATC, happens to be a friend, and he is also a member of the club that owns the Bonanza in this story. What? He edited together the audio from this event, which I have attached along with a screenshot from FlightAware and the ATC strip from Boston Center.
We're going to play that at a different time. We don't have time for that today.
Okay.
But
wow.
we will get to it.
The issue wound up being the prop governor. It broke hard, and luckily it didn't result in a runaway prop, which would have been even more challenging to deal with. Yeah, I don't know the procedure for that in a Bonanza, right? It's a constant speed. Is it a...
It is a constant speed, variable pitch prop. We're not going to get into that system because I haven't studied adequately to talk about it right now.
Yeah, I guess it's similar, but a runaway... Interesting. Okay. Anyway, I really do want to thank you guys for all that you do. I was better prepared for this event today because of your show. What you are doing really does make us all better prepared to deal with situations like this. You create community between pilots and controllers that makes everyone smarter and safer. Respectfully, Golf Juliet. Cool. Thank you very much.
I love this story. We're only going to hit on a few points here. You did a great job of narrating and picking up on some important points. There's a few we want to hone in on. The first thing you talked about, to declare your emergency early and clearly. You took away, as much as you think the controller was helping you, you helped him by doing it so quickly and telling him exactly what you wanted. And if you wait because you're afraid of the paperwork, or what if they're laughing at me, what if I'm doing the wrong thing, it's wasted time. Just don't waste it. It doesn't buy you anything except things in the rearview mirror that you can't fix anymore. So it could cost you options. Speak up clearly what you did, and everybody listening that's in a situation that's, there are pilots that may think this isn't an emergency. I have partial power. I have a few different options for you at the time with what was happening in your helmet fire. This was an emergency.
Absolutely.
And you spoke up and said it, and you touched down, and everybody wins. So why don't you explain a little more about your experience with helmet fires, maybe in your training and flying? You've been on, and I'll say this, I'm not laughing when I say this, the type of flying that you did in the Army was more opportune for this to happen because of all the different things you were worried about?
Yeah. Yeah, there was a lot going on. We, let's see, 1, 2, 3. Every mission involved a minimum of 4 radios, and sometimes 5, depending on what was going on, that you were using the whole time. And the pilot flying was responsible for 2 of them. And then you were responsible for 3, but you still had to pay attention to what was being said. So just that alone, that is a helmet fire by itself. Mm-hmm. There's just a ton that's happening all the time. A lot of moving pieces to keep track of. So then you throw in any sort of anything unusual. Yeah, and you you get covered up pretty quick, and it's at night and you can't see anything. Yeah. Helmet fires are real. The more you can plan, the more you can go through procedures and have that to where it's just sort of natural and happens naturally, it will increase your capacity for doing the other stuff that has to be done. Because an emergency tends to make you like hyper focused, right, on this emergency. You see it in videos, in investigation videos all the time. They just the crew gets so focused on one thing that they start losing sight of all of this other stuff. So, the training, the flow through, this situation and simple priorities. It can't be stressed enough. I know you hear it all the time, but aviate, navigate, communicate, fly the plane first, navigate, and communicate is last. It isn't that it's not important. It's just it is tertiary to aviate and navigate.
That's a good segue for number 3 here. Air traffic was an instrumental part of, you communicated what was happening, and they were part of that navigate, and you were flying the plane and monitoring what was happening with the airplane. Very quickly seemed to realize that energy management was important and it was a priority, because some of that was taken off your plate by the controller. And whether or not they were a pilot is yet to be proven, but they could help you reduce that workload when they understand what's going on. So however succinctly you did that, and when I said we'll get to that audio, I'm not necessarily sure I have that audio. If I did, I probably would have played it on this show, but I'm going to look further into that. It's possible it wasn't attached to this email, or I just didn't see it. But you keying up with something brief, this is what I need. I need to land. Something's going on with my engine or my prop. I'm not sure what you said. But that translates to, this airplane needs to get on the ground as soon as possible, and the controller translated that very quickly. So the sooner you can tell them what's happening, the quicker they can give you maybe a menu of options on things that you could or will do. Is that fair? Mm-hmm. I want to talk about number 4 also from a GA point of view for energy management. I think it would be very easy, and you said it in your feedback, for you to have taken that descent instruction to 3,000, even though they said pilot's discretion, and descent, and have robbed yourself of 5,000 feet of choices when you got to your field. 5,000 feet is a long way in general aviation. You can... an airplane will go quite a ways at 5,000 feet in standard glide configuration, and that mattered. So in an emergency, it's easy to just do what they tell you to do, because they've taken some of that decision-making away from you.
Yep. You're almost relieved that you're not having to decide.
Exactly. They could have said anything there, and 99 out of 100 pilots would have been, okay, I'm doing it.
Right. So the PD part of this just indicates to me, the pilot's discretion part, that the controller has that understanding, right? Mm-hmm. That you might not want to descend. I am telling you that might not always be the case. You get a new controller with less experience that doesn't understand maybe what's happening here, this energy management part of this situation, and they just say descend and maintain. And now you're even more likely to just blindly accept that. Mm-hmm. Please understand that controller might not understand your needs in terms of energy management and staying high if you want to. A lot of the times there's this feeling that it's an emergency, we got to get on the ground right now. Okay, if you're not on fire or something that requires, like, yes, we do need to get on the ground right now, yes, retain that, and do not be afraid to speak up and say, no, I'm going to stay at 8. Mm-hmm. So That's all on that.
Can you speak to number 5? Any experiences that you've had with, I agree with this statement, partial power can be harder than no power. That was said in the feedback as well.
Yeah.
And I'm curious if you've experienced that on the helicopter or King Air side in any training or anything.
Not the King Air, but in my primary training, we had a partial engine failure, partial power failure that resulted in us auto-rotating basically under almost no power. The only thing that prevented us from putting that thing in the trees was the instructor, as soon as the power started bleeding off, very instinctively pulled back on the cyclic and got us up. Because we were coming back on a low-level route that was deconflicted with departures and everything. So we're very low, below 200 feet.
That's low.
Thankfully, we were close to the runway, but we came skidding to a stop on the runway. I mean, so his decision to manage the energy by gaining altitude immediately, and in a helicopter, trading off some of your airspeed isn't as big of a deal as it is in a plane, was what prevented us from landing in trees. We would have been in trees. There was nowhere else to go. So yeah, and it's like there's enough power to keep the rotor spinning, but there's certainly not enough to climb or maintain altitude. We're losing altitude. So yeah, you're having to make a decision. Are we going to be able to make it to the runway? Or do I need to figure out the best way to land it off field, which is in trees, which I can't imagine that ever being really quite delightful. Yeah. No.
So on the general aviation side, we do a lot of, and certainly in a commercial training environment, instructor environment, we fail the engine near the downwind to base turn, beam the numbers. Okay, you can learn how to manage the energy that you have with no engine running, and that maneuver takes time to manage and figure out and get good at, and judging winds and all the things. And then, of course, we'll practice normal landings ad nauseum. When you take away the go-around option, because you're not sure what's going to happen when you jam a bunch of power into this airplane, when you take away the assurance that you will have the ability to manage your power on the base and the final, you find yourself in this, well, I'm not doing this until I'm basically slipping into the runway, which is forcing yourself down much quicker with no power. And it sounds like you landed fast and long. Great. You stopped. Everything worked out. But that would be significant, a significant challenge. And there's really no history of you in your, I never practiced this in training. And to this day, I've never done that. You wouldn't have a lot to draw on other than your instincts and your knowledge of that airplane and a feel that comes with a lot of experience. So I don't want to diminish the importance of managing that speed and power till the very last minute, and the trade-off being we landed long and fast. Who cares? You didn't have to hit the runway numbers. You didn't have to be perfect. You got it on the ground, and everybody's safe. That was a very difficult maneuver, undoubtedly.
Yeah. You said a lot of it is feel, and I could not agree more with that. I would say that it's good to trust your instincts on that. I was always a much more feel-oriented, and I'm the same way as a controller. I'm not doing a ton of math. I'm not calculating times and distances. I just developed a feel of something. Is this going to work over time? And I flew the same way. I don't want to just blanket say trust your instincts all the time. But I think that they will tell you, you will have a feel for how is this going? How is this going to work? Is this going to work? you'll have a natural inclination of, where do I turn base? You know, at least I feel like that, speaking from personal, and not really having okay, these are the winds, this is my speed, this is how, this is my descent rate, like, and doing this math problem.
Right. No,
I could never do that. I was never good at that. Mm-hmm. I just had to kind of feel it out. And that just comes with doing it. You just have to do it a few times. So
altitude definitely gives you options, and more speed gives you options. You can't get it back in the GA world. It's very hard, and it sounds like in the helicopter too. So it is something to consider when you're trading off the balance of how this maneuver is going to end. So good for you on that one.
Yeah. Usually in a helicopter, it's rotor RPM. That's what you don't get back.
Okay.
You bleed that off, it's not coming back. And it takes a significant amount of altitude loss to bring it back.
You mean 200 feet isn't enough?
No. No.
The last point I want to talk about, and you mentioned it in the feedback, was how the emergencies can affect controllers too. This one is a very unique situation where a spouse was on a scope in the same building as the controller working. That's crazy. Probably not common. No. I love the fact they brought you the strip as a souvenir, and I'm sure they were very glad to see you and that everything worked out.
Yes.
I would have loved to have heard that post-flight conversation with said spouse, especially if they weren't in aviation as much. You mentioned it affects the controllers and how relieved the controller sounded when they picked up. Can you imagine how nice that would have been to hear from them after you work this? Because oftentimes, when we've said this on the show, now, outside of a tragedy, we typically don't find out how these stories end. You walk out, you're done with your time on position, and you go upstairs and you work in the tower the rest of the day, something like that. You might not find out what happened and be able to talk to the controller. So how would that feel on the receiving end of that phone call?
Well, let me tell you how it feels. Not from a controller's perspective, but from my emergency perspective, where I was IFR at 8,000, had a hydraulic failure. I mean, complete hydraulic. There are two systems. One system is gone, completely gone. All the fluid pumped out of that system in like 6 seconds.
Why is it raining red?
Yeah. So we declare an emergency. We start an emergency descent in a Chinook. This is 6,000 feet a minute. Oof. So it doesn't take long, and we're talking to the center, and we're screaming out of the sky. And they say, the nearest airport is there, 12 o'clock, 6 miles. The last thing I said before we lost comms and radar was, I don't think we're going to make it. I meant to the airport. Okay. But they didn't take it that way, understandably so. Mm-hmm. We land in a hayfield. We're fine. Mm-hmm. The first thing I did as soon as we shut down was I called and I got the number for the center. And I called them. I called them and I said, it's Freight Train A2. We're on the ground in a hayfield. And I am not kidding you. There was cheering.
Oh, that's great.
And clapping in the background. Everybody was hanging, just on this moment of, I don't think we're going to make it. Just in hindsight, that was a terrible thing to say because I knew we were going to be okay. We were going to land. Mm-hmm. Unless you lose the second hydraulic system on the way down, and then
we aren't going to make it.
We aren't. Whatever profile you're in at that time is your last profile. That is what you're getting.
How long do you think it was between airplane securely on the hayfield to you making this phone call? How many minutes passed?
Well, probably 5.
Okay. That's a long time.
It's a long time. Now, I was so impressed because the fire department found us maybe 10 minutes.
That's insane.
Later. And we never gave them a grid. We didn't give them anything. They just thought, hey, they're in this area. They called 911. I mean, this is states away, too, from where they are.
That's awesome.
Yeah, it was cool.
But you answered the question that affects them. They were on...
It is...
they were on the edge of like, what happened?
Yes.
And you call and they're having a party in the background.
There is a feeling of helplessness on the controller side. Like, I want to help you so bad. I want to help you get out of this, for this to end safely. But I'm stuck in this room. Like, all I can do is talk to you and give you information. There's nothing else I really can do. And so there is a sense of like, I don't know. I just, there's nothing I can do to fly the plane. I can't, as far as that goes. And yeah, so there is a great, great desire for a good outcome. And you could hear it. You could hear it in the voices of these controllers at the center.
For the pilots listening, they're afraid to call big bad FAA. This will be a time when you shouldn't be afraid. You made it down. Someone helped you. You can find the number. We've talked about that 100 times. The nearest approach facility is on. Phone numbers are usually on for a non-towered airport nearby. Call up. Tell them who you are. And it sounds like somebody will be happy you called just to tell them thank you. And this is what happened. And kind of close it for at least the day. And that might be the last they ever hear about it, but it'll be the great way to end the day for them.
Yes. Yep.
I've been given word via telegram that the audio is on its way again. We will play that at another time. I think our discussion today was fine without it. But I would be I think our audience would love hearing that audio and how smoothly it went. It sounds like it went all well. So congratulations to the pilot, the controllers, everybody. Great job all around. And hopefully we zoomed out enough for everybody to learn a lesson from this specific example.
Yep.
All right, moving on.
Moving on.
Boop, boop, boop. Feedback time.
Feedback.
I hit the wrong button during that audio. It will be heard on the audio version. My finger slipped on the soundboard.
Yeah.
The record shall reflect. I hit the wrong button.
I'll put another tick mark on your on your side.
I think you should get number 1.
From Supercaster Papa Charlie. I'm curious to know the requirements about a facility being upgraded to a Charlie from a Delta. Oh my gosh. My home airport, which is the casino airport on the Gulf, is a level 7 facility with a Tersa. It is a busy facility with variety of air traffic ranging from GA, commercial, and a lot of military. A neighboring facility, the so-called city that founded Mardi Gras, is a Charlie and a level 7 facility as well. Something unique about my home airport is that it is in conjunction with the Hurricane Hunters Delta, which I could see maybe why it would prevent an upgrade. Any thoughts on this would be great, Pop Charlie. No, I don't think that would prevent it. If anything, it might be something that might push it towards that. We have a Tersa here in North Carolina that is also, I think, a 7 or a 6.
It is, and they're in the
7.
process of transitioning to a Charlie.
So it is a process.
A long one.
I think it is to the highest levels of government.
Yes.
Airspace changes, for whatever reason, are super slow, clunky, tons of bureaucracy. And
competing interests.
Right.
The pilots are not necessarily in love with that.
The pilots don't want more controlled airspace. Typically.
Agreed.
I think there's a good case to be made for that. I understand the conflict, the freedom versus the control. But I think we've made a great case here on this show for why control is better for everyone to some extent. I'm not talking about everywhere. I'm not talking about we are managing every aspect of your flight, nothing like that. But in certain areas, especially busy places like this, I think mandatory participation in and around a busy airport is not a bad thing.
Agreed.
If you're out in the middle of nowhere flying around the practice area or whatever, fine. Don't be on frequency. Go talk to each other. But if you're getting close to the Charlie, hanging out on final at 3,000 just at 11 miles is a terrible place to be. It's terrible.
Right. I'll just make this a simple argument. The controller side would be almost always give them a Charlie. Right. You're not going to find a lot of controllers that are going to say, no.
Oh, yeah. Just give it away. Give it away.
Yeah, they want that virtual fence up. It's not hard. It's a transparent fence. It's easy to get through it. It's not impossible.
You fly right through it.
We're not talking about making new Bravos, okay? We're talking about turning a Delta or a Tursa into a Charlie. The controller side would be very open to that. There's a large contingent of pilots and a lot of groups that are advocating for those pilots that don't want that. They want to minimize the number of facilities that are adding barriers to entry. There's two sides of that. I'm not putting me on either side of that. I'm not trying to speak for anybody on that, but it's not as simple as saying, hey, this has reached this certain click mark of traffic. It has to be a Charlie now. We're talking years of convincing the right people that are in and out of political offices that may or may not have any interest in that, don't understand what a Delta is, Tursa, Charlie, no clue what you're talking about. So there's other considerations in there. But.
Yeah. These are the same people that brought you recent government shutdown.
Right. And in fairness, there's a hierarchy of things that need to be dealt with at a government level, and airspace at random Tursas. I would have to guess it's super low on their list.
It's not high. Yeah,
they're not up there. So,
but I would say to the people involved in making this transition that are trying to do this, do not make this your standard 5-mile, 10-mile ring Charlie. Just do it now. Make it the shape you need it to be now.
And the shape you need it to be should be based on what the controllers in that area say it should be.
Go talk to the controllers.
Yes.
Not just plop a 10-mile ring on there and go, okay, good. That's perfect. This will cover every plane from the en route structure and encompass an entire approach. Wrong
answer. Those are our thoughts, Papa Charlie. Thanks for the question.
Yes.
So, do I get number 2? Mm-hmm. From Penguin Mike Juliet, responding to the Never Ending Sunset post on Supercast. A little story from the past. My last trip as a 777 FO was very similar. It was December of 2001, which coincided with the winter solstice and was also a full moon, flying from London to LA. We flew as far north as I'd ever flown, around 64 degrees north, if memory serves. It was one of those flights I'll never forget. Local time as we crossed Greenland was noon, but the sun went down in the west, and as it did, the full moon rose in the east on the opposite horizon. As we progressed, the sun came back up again, and the moon set again, followed sometime later by the reverse again. It was magical.
Wow. Can you just imagine, okay, these guys crossing the Atlantic in a wooden boat with sails.
Okay.
Being presented with this idea.
Right. That we watched 2 or 3 sunsets and sunrises in a day.
Okay. In how many months did it take? It took months, right, to cross the Atlantic?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, in months, how many trips have you made across the Atlantic?
Too many to count.
20?
Right.
So, yeah.
Right.
No one in a lifetime would make that many.
Right.
Of wooden ship days.
Mm-mm.
Those were hard people. Those were hard people.
Here's what I want to know. When someone says, hey, we're going to get on this boat, what sort of pre-brief did they get on what was about to happen to them? Because I can't imagine they knew this was going to take months. I might die.
Well, the first ones wouldn't have known at all.
True, but eventually there was enough. But there was no. How are you passing this message back? How are they finding out?
Yeah, they had to go back, I guess. All right, we're getting on this boat. How long is this trip going to be? Well, we're not really sure. What do you mean?
What's on the other side? We don't know. We haven't heard from them. Yeah. We have no idea.
What if there's no end to this ocean? Well, then we're going to die.
How will we have enough food?
We won't.
There's more to the feedback.
Sorry, got derailed there. Yeah, it was your feedback.
I'm sorry. I'm waiting for you to start reading again. I went to captain upgrade school about a week later, and I thought I'd be back on the long haul routes in about 5 years. The alert ones in the crowd will note that the date of that flight was some 3 months after 9/11, and the industry all changed right then. Add to that the change to age 65 and the market crashes of 2007 and 2008, and I didn't get back onto the wide body for almost 20 years.
Wow.
Now flying the Pacific and the 787, and the views are almost as spectacular. Mike Juliet. Well, thank you for sharing this awesome story of flying north with the sun and the winter solstice. And we're glad you made it back into the wide bodies.
Yeah, cool.
Excellent. I fly with a lot of younger pilots, younger than me pilots. And they weren't flying around this time. And I was just getting my private at 9/11. I was halfway through my private training. So I've been a witness to some of the changes in the industry, and I can appreciate the historical perspective that you're giving in this. And I think some of the pilots that have only been in the industry for 5 or 10 years lose sight of the fact that you're flying with pilots that have gone through some tremendous change in aviation since 9/11. And it speaks to some advice you'll get. Pick the seat at an airline that you'll be happy in, because you never know how long you're going to be in it. I love the seat I'm in. If I'm stuck in the seat for a long time, I'm happy.
You said that these new guys weren't flying during this time. Mm-hmm. That's because some of them weren't born yet.
Yeah, the youngest pilot I flew with was 26, so...
Okay, so we're getting close.
We're getting close. Yes. We are getting close. But you're right, they weren't born yet. So I'm aging myself a little bit, but...
I think the airline that's based at the Coffee Bravo, whose name shares that of the northwesternmost state.
Okay.
They have a Dreamliner now. And they go to Rome, maybe, from there.
Due to the merge with Hawaiian.
Oh, so they acquired planes from them. Okay.
We have to be very careful how we say that, because there are some unhappy people in that merge. I'll just say that.
Sure. There always are, right? Mm-hmm. Every time a merge like that happens.
Yes.
Some people are happy and some are really not happy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I just thought it was interesting. It's
a 787 from Anchorage to Rome.
Seattle.
With Abe Lincoln on the back?
Yeah.
Okay. I did not know that.
Yeah.
Abe Lincoln's the name we've made up for that person on the back of the airplane. Excellent feedback, Mike Juliet. Thank you for sharing. You get the last one.
Okay. From Supercaster Mike Tango Bravo, they could catch the laserers. This should be interesting.
It's going to be fun.
I was extremely disappointed in both of you this week, calling for the death penalty for a laser. Seriously? Did we say that?
Keep going.
Okay, I thought you guys were better than that. Bad, bad, bad. Oh. Death penalty is too quick. Torture. Torture first, then death penalty. Shouldn't be laughing about that, but... and it goes without saying, part of the torture should be shining a laser Come on. into the laser's eyes, and it needs to be public. We do this once. Nobody will ever laze another airplane. They will stop being your problem. I probably agree with that. I'm not sure that I would be totally on board. this method.
I'm sure at some point I would reach my moral threshold.
Right. Right. But I'm willing to explore it. Now, they continue. This is a longer one. Now, I'm a pacifist, and I work hard in my life to not harm others. But there are two exceptions when I will duke someone. Earwigs inside of my house and people that point lasers at airplanes. Who are you hurting for these earwigs? The pest control guy? Yeah. Earwigs are gross. They're very gross. It's the little pincher things. I have one fun story about lasers. I was doing pattern work, including some go-arounds at Grape Varietal Airport in the Sourdough area, and we kept getting lased from this trailer park off the side. We reported it to Tower. Some
California Highway Patrol.
Helicopters are based there as well. Yeah, CHIPS. The CHIPS helicopters are based there as well. They were bored, so they went looking for it. Lights off, had us keep doing pattern work so that the guy would keep trying to lase us. Right, so you put the bait out.
I like this.
You set a trap. We basically blocked that window, so we couldn't get blinded, which is good. That was a nice...
Pro move.
Yeah, good move. They narrowed it down to a specific home, and the ground cops drove up silently and caught the guy red-handed or green-handed. So they do get caught. They were able, not unable, to catch him. It was satisfying enough. No, I'm not reading that. I don't know what happened after that. I'm assuming they didn't tell us because the laser guy was... because the laser guy was beheaded and buried in the weeds of the Delta. We can hope. Someone who shall not be named has started doing something going into if someone picks you up here, they truly love you airport. Oh, right. No, that's not too niche. I think that's fine. If they're willing to go and get you at this place, you either paid them a lot or they do love you. There are a triad of laserers in the area. Penguin Airlines flies there often. This person turns on their mounted EFB, let's say, from the jump seat so that the camera is facing the area where the lasers come from and starts recording. The screen times out, but it keeps recording, so it's not a distraction. How nice. So far, the person doing this has not been lucky enough to be lased while doing it, but one of these days, maybe in the next flight following this one, maybe the video evidence anonymously submitted, since it might not be an approved usage, will help the cops narrow down to the exact house so they can show up with the full battalion of flesh-eating ants to sick on the laser. And we will all say you did this to yourself when they get caught. Yeah. Flesh-eating ants. That's appropriate. Okay, thanks for reading. Go have some cookies. I'm going to the local Metroplex to catch a movie and shove some popcorn down the tubes. I think it's about Bunky the Terps Elf. Take care, kiddos.
I see your little efforts to say all the bingo things and one feedback, and AG's coming off a mid. He's not seeing it happen. It's unfolding right in front of him.
I just read what's in front of me.
Yep. I took out the last line thinking I had outsmarted you. I just realized that you outsmarted me too. Someone just won bingo. All right, that was a fun way to end the show. We do our best to respond to supporter feedback and let you know when you will be on an upcoming show. AG, anything to add before the chat?
I do not.
Closing out episode 416 of Opposing Bases Air Traffic Talk. Romeo Hotel.
And Alpha Golf. Goodbye, everyone.
Drop. Opposing Bases is a listener-supported, ad-free weekly podcast. The views expressed on the show do not reflect the opinions or official positions of the FAA or Penguin Airlines. Episodes are for entertainment purposes only and are not intended to replace flight instruction. To get on-time access, bonus content, and full archive access, join the crew at opposingbases.supercast.com.